Hey everyone, this is Britai and welcome to the last update of my Fallout 2 thread. This is basically just going to be a demonstration update. In this case, today we're looking at Frank Horrigan, the last boss, and how annoying it is to kill the wanker with your bare hands. Now, at this point, I've saved the game right before actually having to deal with Frank. He's by himself. I've deactivated all of the turrets in the room to make this a one-on-one fight, and I've also locked out all of the other Enclave troopers. And as you can see, I'm absolutely jacked up to the gills on lots of lovely, lovely drugs. I have 18 action points. This is due to a shitload of jet and a monument head chunk and a cookie, which are all very useless items in the game because they're so rare that by the time you actually face a challenge hard enough to use them, you've already reached a level where nothing in the game is that challenging anymore. So, I'm here locked in the room with Frankie. You can see him over here, and I figure that I don't want to be a big pussy and fight him in power armor, so Trogg's going to do the manly thing here and fight him in cloth. So let's see and have a look exactly how much harder this makes things. Now, normally when you first face off against Frankie, you get this wonderful little talking head dialogue option with him. Trogg, on the other hand, is so monumentally stupid that we're not going to get this today. So, really, there's nothing more left to do other than jump in and start punching him, preferably in the crotch. And there we go. Now, the trouble with taking on Frank Horrigan unarmed, of course, is that your hits do very, very little, even if they're criticals, while his hits can carve off a fair chunk of your vitality. He's got the best weapon in the game, and it's burst weapon, so needless to say, I'm going to be using a lot of stims and other drugs throughout this battle. As you can see there, while I'm not doing all that much physical damage to him, pretty much all of my hits are critical, which means that I'm going to start, well, there I've done it, I've destroyed his arm control mechanism. The thing with Frank Horrigan is his hit points, he has something like 999 hit points, which means that it's possible to break every single limb on his entire body, shatter his eyes, and destroy his arm control mechanism in the head, rendering him unable to do anything more than shuffle up to you and attempt to kick you. As you can see, he's still reeling over from that punch to the cock I gave him, which is good for me because even when he's kicking you, he does quite a lot of damage. So I'm just going to stand here and kick him for a while, and thanks to the Slayer perk, which I took earlier, pretty much every time I hit him I do massive critical damage, which also contributes to him not being able to move for half his turns. Of course, when he does move, he completely kicks my ass, so first thing I'm going to do is get him down again. Second thing I'm going to do is actually get myself some much needed health. And that was worthwhile. Now, I don't know how many of you have played through with either a primary melee or just a melee specialist character before, but an interesting thing about melee combat is the further you go in the game, as in the higher your level is and the higher your melee skill is, the more different types of attacks are available for you. And when you get up to an obscenely high level, as Trogg is right now, you get piercing kicks and piercing palm strikes. Now, these are not the sort of attacks that you would usually use, simply because the piercing kicks and piercing palm strikes take 8 or 9 AP to use a piece. So most of the time they're utterly useless. Against Frank, however, they do have a use, because Frank's armour is incredibly effective at taking off any damage that you try to level towards him. And the piercing strikes have a effect whereby they increase the critical chance, the critical damage, and a chance of essentially ignoring armour. So basically I'm just going to critically hit him in the crotch and head until he explodes. Now I'm beginning to get a little bit annoyed with that cannon of his, so hopefully I'm going to be able to take it out. Most people who've played through Fallout 2 know that after a while his cannon will run out of ammo, or by repeatedly hitting him in the arm he'll drop his cannon and switch to a set of wrist blades, which is pretty much a rip-off of the Predator considering his helmet design. However, what I found using an unarmed character and getting crippling critical hit after crippling critical hit on him is that after a while he actually drops his weapons and starts trying to kick you. So I'm going to have a gander and see if I can get him to start doing that now. I suppose I really should have prefaced this by saying that the fight against Frank Horrigan is incredibly long and boring. I've been kicking him for 4 or 5 minutes now, and as far as I know, he's... well, let's have a look here. He's wounded. Now, most critters in the Fallout universe have several different levels of being wounded. They just range from unarmed, wounded, severely wounded, and almost dead. These thresholds seem to be based on a percentage of the character's maximum life.